I think one of the other things that's phenomenal about your dad as an actor in the contemporaries and people that I've talked to that work with him is his memory.
Yeah.
Was just, and I think this is what really irked William Wyler, because when he made Best Years, he was drinking, but the drinking had at that point, had no discernible effect on his ability to come in, get through a hangover, get made up, look at the script, and be letter perfect. And Wyler knew this, and it irked him that he couldn't really do something about it. So what he did was, there's one scene in Best Years where he gets out of the cab and bumps his head. And so Wyler did like 15 takes of Dana, your dad bumping his head on the cab, just in a very petty way to try and do that. But
he did it.
Yes, he did it. And Arnold told me, he said, you know, I read the script and it's just, well, these people come home and they say this and that, and it didn't seem to be very meaningful. And then he remembered not only the first couple scenes when Frederick March got home, but that one scene of your dad near the end where he's out in the airfield in what is Ontario Airport, and I think it's the B-29s are there, and he climbs into the plane and he has that epiphany, and there's not dialogue there.
I'm gonna cry just remembering.
Oh, I don't want to make you cry, but it's an extraordinary scene done by an extraordinary actor.
But he didn't get to work with William Wyler again.
That's the downside of, after a while, no matter how great you are, how great your memory is, how well liked you are, eventually the substance abuse does catch up with you. How did that affect your father's career, and were you aware of that when you were growing up, that the drinking was making both his personal and professional life more difficult, or were you aware of that?
Well, you had to be
You
aware
had to be aware of it, yeah.
We were very aware of it.
Yeah.
And I'm the youngest, so, I mean, when I was born, my father had an 85-foot yacht and a slightly smaller yacht for racing purposes.
Wow.
And and then the yachts got smaller, the house got smaller, but.
Yeah. And he was always working too.
He was always working, and I was saying to Alan earlier, towards the end of his career, he was pretty happy towards the end of his career, because he just went and did plays with my mother and was very, very happy. But in the 60s, he did Twilight Zones and Outer Limits and
Sure.
Love Boat, and he just liked to work.
Yeah, he was a working actor.
And he put his kids through college, and we didn't work when we were in college. I mean, he supported us, and he was a very generous person.
Yeah.
And so, he worked.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we admired him for that, and we thought it was sad that we knew why he wasn't getting more jobs.
Yeah, yeah.
But in 1969, he stopped drinking for the last time, and he had a 10-year period where he was pretty cogent.
Good.
And he went on lecture tour with my mother, did plays with my mother. Your mother saw
Yeah,
him
my
do,
mother, we were
Our
talking
Town.
today, my mother, this was early 70s.
Yeah, it was all through the 70s.
A little an adjoining town in New Jersey, the high school there, Dana was traveling with Our Town with his wife, and my mother went to see it and got to meet him over coffee. I mean, this was the type of thing where during the intermission, the actors come out to get the coffee with the audience and talk with the audience, then go back in and finish the play. And
He learned that he really liked to do these plays with my mother and then come out afterwards and talk to the audience and take questions.
right, exactly,
And
exactly.
he enjoyed that.
Exactly.
He did.
And with all the travails of the drinking and everything, it sounds like your dad and your mom had a very, very strong marriage, certainly one that endured for a long time.
Yeah, 55 years.
55 years,
Yeah.
so, that's much to his credit and your credit as a family.
Well, it used to embarrass us as
Yeah.
teenagers and young adults because he would talk about how much he loved our mother and how, you know, they were still in love, and he's just too much information, you know.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. When you're a teenager, yeah. That's when you get to the age where I'll drop you off at school, and then you get to a certain age. It's like, how about the block? This block. This is fine, Mom. Just let me here. Just here. I'll walk the rest of the way. You know, you don't want to be seen with your parents. You know. Yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. And speaking about your family, you have family here today.
I have my brother here.
Yeah, yeah.
Stephen.
Stephen,
Who's
welcome,
my-
Stephen
my
Andrews.
bro. And he lives nearby, so that's one of the reasons I was so happy to come down here and get to see him. And we were very close growing up, and he just told me that Dad convinced him that he was Mark McPherson. That it didn't even feel like it was his dad. It was Mark McPherson.
Well, if your dad can convince his son that he is Detective McPherson, I don't think anything else needs to be said about the consummate artistry
I
of
just
Dana
love watching
Andrews.
this movie. I love watching the scenes without the talking. I love watching when she says that she's not going to marry Shelby and his
Yeah.
little look on his face. I just...
Yeah. It's interesting. Jean Tierney, I don't think she had a great modicum of self-confidence, and she had her own demons that she had to deal with in her life. But she thought the movie, in retrospect, was about Otto, Clifton Webb, and your dad. She said, I was just there. I was the painting and so
Yeah,
forth.
mannequin.
And a mannequin. And I don't agree with that at all. I
Yeah.
think she's fantastic.
She's really important.
She's important and so forth. But
You can see why she might say that.
yeah, yeah. She was, I mean, Leave Her to Heaven, that was one of her great performances and so forth. But it wouldn't have been Laura without her, but it certainly wouldn't have been the movie that it was and still is without your dad. It's fantastic, and I really appreciate you coming down
Thank
here.
you.
It was wonderful. It's wonderful to
you.
see you again. So, and I know everyone feels the same way. So put it together for Susan Andrews. Thank you, Susan, so much. I love it.